Hello, welcome back to my channel. Yes, this is gonna be a Man City rebuild stream. So in this stream, we're going to go over a Man City rebuild. Pretty simple, isn't it? So I'll quickly explain the homegrown rule in both Premier League and UEFA because they're different rules, and then we'll go through 3 different strategies. So you might notice here, You might notice here that I've got 3 different tactical boards open. I've actually got 4 open. This is the UEFA one. I'll come back to that in a second. I'll explain this in a second. So I've got 3 different tactical paths open, where I will explain my ideas, my strategy for transfers, assuming we win Club World Cup or we don't, how the club responds to maybe not winning the Club World Cup. So most of these are conjecture really. So the first one is ideal scenario for me personally. The second one is, I believe the second one is the most probable course of action for the club if we should not win the Club World Cup. And third one is another one should we fail some targets or something. Like, obviously anything can happen, the strange things can happen, and just going off some transfer news, I guess. Anyhow, hello to Wim, who's already in chat here. Big up to the sales, by the way. Do be liking, subscribing, that does help out a ton. And Romeo Vermont has indeed officially agreed to our extension with Club Brugge. But this is a Man City stream, of course. So if you see me looking at the left, this is where I've got my script open. I will respond in chat in time, but I've got a lot open, so I may ignore chat for that a little bit, but I'll get back to you guys in time. Anyhow, let's begin with explaining the rules here, just briefly, for those who don't know the UEFA rule. So I think the Premier League rule is more well understood. You're allowed to have 17 players who are not homegrown. In that criteria, they do not count players such as Echeverri. He is not homegrown because he's not at Man City's academy for 3 years, or at Man City for 3 years before turning 21. But he's under 21, so he does not count for the homegrown criteria. But then you have players like Kusanov, who are 21 or older, who do count for the homegrown criteria. So let me briefly explain these numbers. 11, 11, 11. That is 11 players. The last number is 11 players on the pitch. 11 of them are homegrown, or not homegrown, and 11 of them are not homegrown who already count towards the criteria. So maybe I can better explain on the right here without reserves, out bench. We have 8 players who are counted as not homegrown on the bench here. Those are, if we quickly go through them, Gusanov, Akanji, Ortega, Kovacic, Gundogan, Gonzalez, Doku, and Savio. 8 players. Now, Echeverri, Victor Reis, and a few others, such as Nipan, they do not count. They do not count because they are under 21. But they will be not homegrown once they turn 21. So that is the middle number. Not homegrown players, including the under 21s. Because that does matter. When you're planning for the future, it does matter. And if you currently look at our squad, you can see we have 22 players that are either not homegrown or soon will count as not homegrown. So we need to reduce on those players. So that is the rules in the Premier League. And again, your maximum allowed is 17. In UEFA, the rules work a bit different. In UEFA, the focus is not on foreign players, but on homegrown players. In the Premier League, they limit how many homegrown players you're allowed to have. In UEFA, they mandate how much homegrown players you should have. So it's a bit different. So the UEFA rule is... Well, it's not really a rule, but this is how UEFA squads work. You have 2 lists. You have list A and you have list B. On list A, you can place a total of 8 players who are homegrown. 4 of those players, only 4, are allowed to be association trained. What does that mean? It means that those players are trained or homegrown, but not from your club. You may have as many club-trained players, so homegrown players who come through your academy. You may have as many of them as you want on List A. Of course, a maximum of 8 players on List A. It's only 4 homegrown players who don't count as club-trained. So that's called association-trained players. Why does that matter? So the first number here is club-trained players. The second number is association-trained players. The list B, you are allowed to have 17 players. Regardless of homegrown, regardless of anything. List B, you can put any player you want as long as they are registered with your club. So that means, list B, you put 17 players into it. List A, you have limitations. If on list A, let's say you have 3 players on list A, and those are the only 3 homegrown players, you are not allowed to put not homegrown players on list A. You aren't. So what does that mean? It means you aren't able to fill out list A. So let's say you've only got 3 people in list A instead of the maximum of 8. That means you're going into the Champions League with a squad size of 20 rather than 25. So that's why that rule matters. So when we build a squad here, the ideal will be to get a squad that will comply with the Premier League rule in 5 years from now, as well as will comply with the UEFA rule for the foreseeable future. So let's get to it. We'll start with assuming we win the Club World Cup, and I think I have said this for a long time. If we win the Club World Cup, I am fully convinced that we will sign Livramento. The reason is, the Club World Cup is 100 million euros. If you win it. Dollars, euros, I'm not sure, but 100 million something. That is about 90 million pounds. You tell me right now that if we get 90 million pounds, that Man City won't go and sign Pep's favorite right back option when we desperately need a right back. I would not even imagine how you can argue that. So, in my opinion, if we win the Club World Cup, we are going to sign Livramento. He's Pep's favorite option, and we just have so much money from winning the Club World Cup. So Livramento coming in, for me that means Nunez has to leave. So Nunez is out already. Let's put him over here, sure. So, that means that we now go down to 10 homegrown, 10 not homegrown players. We still have to fix or get out a lot of players. I think the starting 11 is done. Of course, Foden, Silva, they'll rotate, I think, because Foden is trying to find back his fitness. Silva is not leaving. Let's get that straight. He is our captain, so Silva just is not leaving. It's not happening. We need to reduce our squad size a bit. So Pep Guardiola wants a squad size of 24. No more than 24 players. Currently, we have 33, so 22 on the bench, 11 in starting 11. So, first thing first, some loans. Nipan, let's put loan players in yellow. Sure, that looks nice. Nipan, new player, seems like he'll be going on loan to Girona. I've heard a loan to Lyon is also possible. It was Lyon, right? So, that takes a lot of different loan options for Nipan. I don't think he'll be at Man City next season, so Nipan out on a loan in my opinion. So we go down to 3 central midfielders, which I think is still way more than enough. And 21, oh sorry, I'm misclicking everything here right now. Disastrous stream this. And we go down to 21 players on the bench. 10 of them are not homegrown, including under 21s. So, now, I still think we need to get rid of a few players. Gundogan is my next target. Gundogan currently has links to Galatasaray. He seems happy to go to Galatasaray, and Galatasaray are willing to pay big wages. Look at the wages they pay Osimhen, for example. They pay big money. So Gundogan, Galatasaray, I think that's... there was some news coming out that they're not in talks right now because Gundogan is at Club World Cup. But to me, that seems rather obvious. If I'm gonna be honest, that's rather obvious that they're not gonna be in talks during that situation. So another player to go is Peter Hayes for me. Peter Hayes on loan, because let's be honest, Akanji is not leaving. And if Akanji doesn't leave, that means that Peter Hayes will not be able to get minutes. I don't want Peter Hayes to be stuck on the bench. So for me, Peter Hayes should be loaned out. Get the opportunity to play, to learn his craft, because Akanji, he will leave not this season, but the season after. So when Akanji leaves, Peter Hayes can come in, take his spot. But for the moment, Akanji is hit, Peter Hayes cannot become homegrown anyhow, so you might as well make him leave. So that gets you down to 19 players on the bench already, and 8 not homegrown, including under 21s. So the first step, I think, is really just curbing down the squad size, getting out the unneeded players, I guess, getting out the trash, I guess you could say, that way. I mean, Kyle Walker. Let's talk about Kyle Walker. Let us not actually. Let us save our sanity and let us not talk about this guy. So I would really like to sell Kyle Walker, but I don't think anyone will buy him. I think Kyle Walker is going to be a very similar situation as João Cancelo. So I don't think we'll be able to sell Walker. We'll have to loan him out. Now, you may have noticed I chose orange here. You're only allowed to loan out 6 players older than 21. So this is under 21, so that 6 loan rule doesn't apply. This is older than 21. So you're only allowed to loan 6 out who are older than 21. Kyle Walker at the moment is the first of those players. And John Stones, I think you also need to sell John Stones. So, for obvious reasons, by the way. Everton is interested right now in John Stones. John Stones probably wants to start playing some football again. It may help him to go play for our weaker team, and John Stones obviously has played for Everton in the past. He's a big burden on our wage bill, so we need to get those wages from John Stones off our back a bit. So with that done, I think our defense looks very sorted. We've got a two left backs, I guess, on the bench. We've got Akanji on the bench, who can play right back, who can play center back. It's okay that he's not great going forwards, Akanji, because neither is Livramento. I think we'll play with a back 3, where Livramento will be the third in that 3. Kusanov can very much so do the same, center back or right back. Even Ake can do that left back or center back role. So this is a very solid back 4. The goalkeepers, it is what it is. I don't think we're going to sign any more goalkeepers. Bettinelli purely brought in for homegrown reasons, I believe. So with all of that done, we are now left to, let's count it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 17, 19 players. Yeah, so this is correct what I'm doing so far. Now we're gonna need to get rid of a few more players, but most of these are gonna be homegrown actually. Now I'm gonna count in a second if I counted all not homegrown correctly. But I think Kovacic has to be one of the players who we sell. You know what? I'll come back to Kovacic later because I think that can be an interesting conversation. Let's talk about Lewis first. Let's say we loan out Rico Lewis. Assuming we loan out Rico Lewis, the reason I would loan him out is because I think he needs to develop physicality, and we need to trim down his squad size again. Again, we're getting these players who, a lot of them are in their last season. We need a small squad size. Rico Lewis isn't physical enough to be in midfield right now for Man City. You loaned this guy out, let him play some football, let him develop that physicality, get a year older, more experienced, then come back. On paper, that might work. So for me, Rico Lewis out on loan seems just fine. So the last player then that I would loan out, by the way, let's just skip ahead to this, is Phillips. Calvin Phillips, he is a disaster. Let's put it that way. You cannot sell this guy. Bro, You cannot pay someone to take this guy at their club. I'm not even joking. Calvin Phillips, we're gonna have to loan this guy out until the end of his contract, bro. I swear it down. Please, 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 somebody buy Calvin Phillips. I beg, bro, I beg. Somebody please buy this guy. Anyhow, with that, we've reduced our bench size to 17. So we've already made significant cuts there in the squad size. I still want to get rid of 4 players even, to get down to a bench of 13 players. Which is gonna be difficult. Now, I just want to count again, because I think I actually miscounted something. 2, 4, 6, 7, 11, plus 4 is 15. Yeah, I forgot to remove Lewis and Phillips. That's what I miscounted. So we're down to 15. So we only need to get rid of 2 more players. And those are gonna be, obviously, Grealish. Not much argument. Links to Everton, again. Links to Napoli. Links to Tottenham. A lot of clubs are interested in Grealish. I think he's an okay player. But not made for the top level club. He's gonna go to a different club. He's gonna play okay in midfield. Somebody will pay him. Grealish has talked about wage cuts in the past, so I don't believe that getting rid of Jack Grealish will pose much of an issue. And the other one is not Oscar Bob, but James McAtee. And with that, we get down to 2 hybrid 8-10 swingers. McAtee wants to leave. He just wants to leave. So there's no arguing about this, really. He wants to leave. What can you say? So, when you count all of that, our squad has come down to a size of 13 bench players, 11 players, or 11 players in the starting 11. That's why it's called the starting 11. Now, 10 of this starting 11 is not homegrown. 7 of this starting 11 is not homegrown, or of this bench is not homegrown. And 1 more on the bench, Echeverry to be exact, will become not homegrown when he turns 21. That means that this squad currently includes 18 players who, including under 21s, are not homegrown. Obviously for 1 season that can work because Echeverry does not yet count, but in the future that becomes problematic. Now, we look at Kovacic in that squad. This guy is gonna leave Kovacic. We look at Bernardo Silva. This guy is also gonna leave next season. Akanji will also leave. So this is actually okay, because these players, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Akanji, they will leave. But it could still be 1 fix, and I'll talk about that later with Kovacic. But first, let's draw some circles for UEFA. As I said earlier, in UEFA's rules, you can put 17 players in list B, regardless of homegrown or not. And then you have list A, in which you can place 4 association trained players, I explained that earlier, and 4, as many actually as possible, club trained players. So of a maximum 8. That of course 17 plus 8 comes together to a 25-man squad. However, again, Pep Guardiola wants a squad of 24 players. 24 players, so this is a 24-man squad. So we don't actually need to get 8 players in list A. If we can put 7 players in list A, we actually already accomplished our mission. And let's see if we've done that. Now, Ake is homegrown, so he is association trained. 1 of the 4 on list A. Or 1 of the 4 of the 8 on list A even. Bettinelli is also homegrown, association trained. That's 2 players. Now I want to look for someone else. Livramento, sure, that's what I was thinking about. And that is 3 players for list A. That is almost enough. We actually need a 4th. But before we get to that, let's count the club trained players that we have left. O'Reilly, Foden and Bob, both of these guys. So currently, on list A, you have O'Reilly, Foden, Bob, Ake, Bettinelli, Livramento. We have a problem. We have 6 players on list A. we are only allowed 17 players on list B. Which means someone from this squad will have to be excluded from the Champions League. Of course, you can put in Divine Resuscitate, but that doesn't fix anything. Which means we need to get rid of a homegrown player. That is why I have Kovacic in purple. Now, you can say this works. You can say this works, absolutely. Let's say you take out Doku. Sure, let's say Doku is not included in the Champions League squad. On paper, this works. Foden, Bob, Savio, that is enough on the bench for the wingers. You have Echeverri on the bench, Gonzalez. You have Kovacic on the bench. You have enough quality on the bench. Sure. But Doku will not enjoy being left on the bench. Furthermore, by doing this, our squad size has effectively decreased to 23, when we could have a 24-man squad in Champions League, not including our academy players. So, preferably, you might actually want to get a homegrown player in there. Now, what not homegrown player from what we have left is most likely to leave? Not a single one from the starting 11 is leaving. So maybe a new goalkeeper. But Pep Guardiola has asked both goalkeepers to stay. So it's not a new goalkeeper. So then we come to the conclusion. Kovacic will be the one to leave. Again, Akanji, Kusanov, they are not leaving. Neither is anyone here leaving. Probably. So I would then replace Kovacic with a homegrown player. A homegrown midfielder. And this homegrown midfielder could be the extra member in your squad. So even though, and the reason why I'm explaining this here is to show, even if your squad works in the Premier League rules, as this squad with Kovacic does, it does not necessarily work in the UEFA rules. So, with this variation, if we get Kovacic out and this homegrown midfielder in, I don't know, Morgan Rogers, a random homegrown midfielder, right? Then we have 7 players, I can't count, 7 players on list A, and you can put 17 again on list B. That's a total of 24, that is our complete squad registered to list A. This means you have to get Kovacic out. So I'm not a big fan of, to be very honest with you. But that's simply what you have to do. I would personally prefer to put Akanji out of the team, but that doesn't really solve a lot. Because let's say you bring in Yumaba for Akanji, it doesn't solve the problem. Yumaba is not homegrown either. So, like, this is the only way I can see us making it work. So Kovacic just has to go. If you look at it like that, Kovacic has to go in this configuration. And probably in most other configurations. Now, configuration 2 is actually the same idea as configuration 1. But if we don't win the Club World Cup, I do not believe that we will sign Livramento. So instead, we have the exact same lineup here. You can see. Oh, by the way, I forgot what just this. Let me just count this quickly. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh wait, what? Sorry, did I count wrong? Done. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 8 players who are not homegrown. Yeah. Okay, you have 8 players who are not homegrown, including Echeverri. It's this one where I counted wrong. Let me fix that. 7 and 8. There you go. Yeah. Numbers can get confusing, I know. So you see, it's really the same configuration you have here. And this should be 10 and 10 by. I rushed this a bit. I made this very quickly. So this is the exact same configuration that you have, really. only difference is instead of Livramento as right back, you get a different homegrown right back. So, Aina, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Matty Cash. There are plenty of homegrown right backs out there who are quality enough to play in Man City. There are. So we don't need to worry about that. All we need to worry about, in my opinion, is getting a right back who is homegrown. Which leads me onto option 3, where that does not happen. So before I get to option 3, let's get to chat here for a moment. Let's see here. Hello Rosa, hello, big up to you, how are you? Big up Elf, hope you're okay, same to you. Big up Oliver, how are you? No way we get Livramento. Why not? He's Pep Guardiola's favorite option, and if we win the Club World Cup, we have £90 million extra. You have £90 million extra if you win the Club World Cup. Pep Guardiola's #1 option. So why not? Why not? I don't know. Why not? You're gonna have to tell me that. Why can't we sign Livramento? Because I see a lot of people say this. It's Pep Guardiola's #1 choice. Pep Guardiola's #1 choice. We win the Club World Cup, we're gonna get this guy. I'm fully confident. If we win the Club World Cup, we get this guy. Now, if we don't win it, then we probably don't. Because he'll be very difficult to get out of Newcastle. If we do win it, come on. Pep Guardiola's #1 choice. He's gonna want that guy. £90 million from Club World Cup. He's gonna push hard for this guy. Anyhow, my last situation where we do not sign a homegrown right back. Now, if we don't sign a homegrown right back, we probably don't sign a right back of great quality. Which means we either have Nunez or we have that Wesley guy. Wesley from Flamengo, was it, I believe? So Wesley from Flamengo, I don't particularly rate him. I've not ever watched him, but he's a very unknown player. Every Brazilian tells me that he's not a great player. Every Brazilian I've talked to about this Wesley guy tells me he's not that good. If Wesley comes, oh well. But the point is, we will get a right back who is not homegrown in this configuration. So what happens then is you have to make up for that elsewhere. So we're gonna begin with a lot of the same stuff. Walker is gonna go out on loan. So Kyle Walker, bye-bye. We're gonna have Ake and O'Reilly as your left backs. As your backup left backs. Victor Hayes, for me, still goes out on loan. For all the same reasons. And you still sell John Stones. Again, this is just reducing the numbers. Just reducing the numbers here. And now you're down to 2 centre backs, both of which can play in right back if they need to. Just saying. Goalkeepers are fine. Now midfield is gonna have to be completely reworked. The bench of midfield at least. Nippon will have to go on loan because he does not count as a homegrown player. So Nippon will have to go out on loan. Gundogan, still selling him because this is the last window we can sell him. Lewis and Kovacic remain. Kovacic has to go. In this configuration, there is no arguing about Kovacic. Because we don't have a right back now who is homegrown, as we do in these first two. So we need to make up for that in this one. So Lewis is gonna stay. We'll talk about that in a sec. We'll talk about that in a minute. So for now, let's just say Rico Lewis stays. I'll do the same with the wingers as we did in the previous ones. Grealish has to go, quality issue, and McAtee wants to leave. No arguing about that. McAtee wants to leave, he'll get good offers, so he can leave. There you go. Now you've gone down to 2 versatile players, I'll call them that. Calvin Phillips, same situation. We want to sell him, nobody will buy him. And then you are once again left with this. Now, if you've been counting, as well as I have, we would come down to 13 players, if I counted correctly. 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 13. Correct. And these players, of them, 7 should be not homegrown. So let's count. Savio, Doku, Echeverri, including under 21. Gonzalez, Ortega, Akanji, Kusanov. 7 players. Not homegrown. Of course, Echeverri is still under 21, so he does not immediately count with that rule. So in this situation, you are fit for the Premier League. Your squad is ready to play Premier League football. We have 6 players in here, who are, well, 17, sorry, 6 on the bench, 11 on the starting 11, who are not homegrown. So 17, that is the maximum. Great, works great. And then 1 player who will become not homegrown when he turns 21. But that is not yet a concern, not yet. Now we still have a problem, and let's go through my problem. So, we want to get, of course, again, players for the UEFA squad. So, we get Bettinelli, sure, Bettinelli, and Aki, because why not? So they're gonna be on that UEFA squad, and then we get those club-trained players. That's 1, you've got 2 club-trained players here, and then you have Lewis. And that is why Lewis stays, because he has club-trained. And if you have a club-trained player, you can put this player on list A without argument or anything like that. So, there you go. You've now got 6 players. And again, this is the same issue as we had with this one. Now got 6 players into UEFA Champions League with homegrown criteria out of the 8. So we're able to field a 23-man squad. That's an issue. We want to be able to field a squad of preferably 24 players, because that is our squad size. Now you can go by, let's say you go by Morgan Rogers. Let's say you go by Morgan Rogers. Okay, problem solved. He goes on the list A now. He counts as homegrown. Voilà, problem solved. Problem solved. No, that is not problem solved. Because now you count, let's count. You've got a starting 11, so that's 11 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 11 plus 7 is 18. We can only register 70 not homegrown players. So just getting Morgan Rogers. Okay, now it's Morgan Rogers, you can have a squad of 24. But you still have to exclude a player. And your total squad size in the Premier League has increased to 25. Pep Guardiola only wants a 24-man squad in the Premier League. So this does not actually solve a problem by getting Morgan Rogers. What do you have to do instead? You have to get rid of a player. It's that simple. You have to get rid of a player who is not homegrown. So maybe Echeverri has to go. Echeverri go on loan. Or Ortega has to go. You can replace Echeverri with Rogers, I guess, but not a great option if you ask me personally. Or Ortega. Ortega has to go. Bring in a homegrown player. Or maybe you force Doku out. Doku leaves and you bring in Morgan Rogers, have Morgan Rogers as a winger. Maybe that works. So, in short, there's a lot of different ways to make it work. But one player, if we do not get a right back who is homegrown, one player on the other side of the pitch will have to leave. It's that simple. And people get defensive. These are the players that people get defensive about. If I say, let's sell Savio, a lot of people will say no. Okay, let's not sell Savio. Doku. A lot of people will say no. Echeverri, a lot of people will say no. Gonzalez, a lot of people will say no. Kuznov, a lot of people will say no. Okay, easy. Akanji. Akanji is not leaving. Akanji has 1 year left on his deal, or 2 years, I'm not sure, but Akanji is not leaving this year. Pep Guardiola wants Akanji next season. So Akanji, we can't do this guy either. Okay, Ortega. No, because Pep Guardiola asked Ortega to stay. So Ortega is not leaving. these two are not leaving because Pep wants them to stay. All the other not homegrown players, Husanov, Gonzalez, Echeverri, Doku, Savio. The fan base does not want these players to leave. So what is the simple solution? Simple solution is get a right back who's homegrown. But I've got a problem for you guys. When you go buy a player who happens to be homegrown, you have to overpay for this player once in a while. So unless everyone is happy with Doku going out of the team, or Savio, or any one of the likes, kind of looks, if you just skim through this right now, like we need to get a right back who's homegrown. Aina, Matty Cash, Wan-Bissaka. My preference, Livramento. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's just counting the players up. And I say this here because a lot of people are like, I don't care about the homegrown rule. It doesn't matter if you care or not, they're the rules. Like, it's that simple. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if you care or not, the rules are the rules, isn't it? Anyhow, that is it for this rebuild stream, I guess. Let's see if there's anything in chat. It doesn't look like it. Big up to Luke. Hello from Greece. Leave a like on stream and sub to the channel. Big up to Luke, indeed. Hello from Greece, man, Seth. Man's flexing his bro, let me show you guys something, yeah? Let me show you guys something. Let me turn off this background music as well. Let me show you guys something. Where is Luke? Luke. Not in my lifetime podcast. Here it is. Let me show you guys how shameless this man is. Let me show you guys, yeah? This is what I mean. Rich push guy. Let me just show you guys. I'll shut up for the moment. Let me show you guys.
Good afternoon, Blues. You join me from lovely Kefalonia and lovely Greek islands today to do a little match reaction to the game against.
And showing the lovely Greece islands, bro. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Man showing off how rich he is. Yo, proper show off this guy. Show off. That's what he is. And showing off. Bro, is this Javi Simmons in your PFP? Bruh. Man's got Javi Simmons in his PFP. Bro, I can't lie. You can get a better Avi than that, mate. Javi Simmons, bro. Yikes. Also, why is this name tag above the chat? That's not that. Second, there we go. But for some reason, my Road to 1K tag is above the chat. Anyhow, yeah, that's my transfer stream done, so let's see who's still live here, and we can redirect then. Nobody live, mate. Nobody live. Why does nobody stream, bro? Am I the only one with word grade here? Come on. I guess everybody is in Greece. I saw that JSGC is in Greece as well, another city content creator. So everybody is in Greece. I'm stuck here in Belgium. Although it's quite nice weather in Belgium as well, actually. So I'm stuck right now in Belgium. All these posh guys, they're in Greece right now. They're not live streaming. They're drinking their Greek wines, some Greek beers as well. They're connoisseurs, isn't it? Anyhow. I will leave it at that. Nobody to redirect to. So that's my rebuild stream done. Thank you guys for coming in. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help out a ton. And let me just redirect you guys to my own stream. I'm doing a stream later. Just some transfer news later. All the latest. Sorry, not transfer news, but I guess we can get into some transfer news now. But yeah, into my early Premier League predictions. Because obviously the schedule was announced. Let me show you guys the schedule for those who haven't seen it yet. Show screen. I don't need notifications right now. Man City. Manchester City. Where is it? How much PR do these man post? But what is all this PR that I have to scroll through? Just show me. Just show me the schedule. Have I bookmarked this? Okay, great. I've bookmarked this. I will be able to find it back later. So, fixture list was released for the Premier League. So we'll be going through that later in my next stream. Other than that, there's a bit of transfer news I saw, actually. Let's talk about that as well. Oh yeah, I've got this ready. People slandering Echeverri, or sorry, not Echeverri. They're slandering, what's his name? They're slandering Cherki already. We will see, we will see. Anyhow, my mouse is acting like a fucking hormonal retard. Somehow, slapping the mouse always works. Fucking magic, isn't it? So yeah, let's talk about this first. So, according to Fabrizio Romano, we are closing in on Liverpool under 15 midfielder Calum Moss. Now, that seems a bit weird to me, because you go get like, let's say we are Liverpool. Why would we sell one of our better players to Man City? Doesn't make sense. Anyhow, this guy, CFG, going all low, never gonna play our game for the first team, I reckon. Advancing talks to sign Dexter Oliver from Tottenham. I've never heard of this guy. Not about any of these guys, to be honest, but he's a Tottenham player. Now, how many players have Tottenham brought through their academy in recent years that have been good? My knowledge, not that many. So, Dexter Oliver, I'm gonna have to say a hard pass to as well. And then, Freddie Lowry from Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa, they tend to be better with their academy than Tottenham. So, that's a bit more interesting. And it makes sense, because Aston Villa isn't quite Liverpool. They're not directly competing with us for the Premier League. They're not gonna win it. So, Aston Villa selling a player to us makes a bit more sense. But all three of these players, they're probably City Football Group, City Academy. None of them will probably play in the first team. So, a few transfer updates there doesn't mean a lot in my opinion. If we sign any of those players, I don't think they'll play for the first team ever. Like, I'm not just saying in the near future, I'm saying ever. Rich, fuck off, bro. Billionaire, this man. Go check out Luke's channel. Great channel. Anyhow, with that said, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps out a ton. And I'll leave it there. Thank you guys for coming in, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. By the way, someone explained to me why we can't sign Livramento. Final task there. Bye.